What's up, guys? How you doing? My name's TB, and today we're going to be talking about My Hero Academia Season 3, Episode 52. And it's been a minute. It's been about a week. Last week we had no episode. I was super sad about it. But today is a very special day because today is the day that Midoriya learns how to fight using his quirk without hurting himself. I was waiting for it to come. So many people were telling me, just wait, because if you read the manga, which I don't, I'm going to keep saying it because some people still don't know that if you only watch the anime, there's certain things that you just don't know and you can't wait to find out that other people know about. But yeah, this is the episode where he develops his unique style to him. Actually, he asks Ida for help, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. He gets a new suit. At the beginning of this episode, Midoriya wakes up not really from a nightmare. It's kind of from he has a dream about the conversation that he had previously a couple episodes ago with All Might. He wakes up to that because All Might's telling him, he's gonna be the next, user of All for One. Sorry, One for All. For some reason, I keep mixing them up. He's basically passing on the torch to Midoriya. So he wakes up and he realizes that he's not at home. He's at UA High School. He's in the dormitory. You see a couple of pics at the dormitory. You see the guys brushing their teeth. You see the girls waking up. They're all having breakfast. It's cool. Then they go down to school, and this is where Eraserhead gets serious. He's like, guys, you need to realize that we're putting you in an accelerated, pace, an accelerated course because of all the stuff that you've been through so far. We're going to try to make sure that you develop your ultimate moves. We're going to make sure that you take the provisional license test for you to become heroes. And he says only 50% of the people that take this test pass, and that sucks. Maybe some of the kids, maybe some of them, the junior heroes that we have in class A here aren't gonna pass. I hope that Mineta doesn't pass. Like, if someone doesn't need to pass, Mineta is the one that does not need to pass. But yeah, he goes on to say that it's serious because once you have a provisional license, there's human lives at stake. You get a chance to work with pro heroes, be their sidekicks, do your thing, but it's like you're going to be fighting real villains. It's no more of this, only in school sort of business. So after that, he takes them to this gym, and the gym is like called a Gamma gym, and that's going to be really important because there's multiple gyms, and there's a name for Midoriya's suit that he names it, and I believe he names it because he develops this quirk in this gym, but it's the Gamma gym. I put up the little screenshot right there, and then Eraserhead goes to talk about what it means to be a hero and to develop your quirks, and then Ida even asks if we're just developing our quirks, then what's the point of making like ultimate moves? And then Eraserhead says, well, when you're in a situation where there's a villain and they're causing havoc and they're hurting people, you need to be able to think calmly, coolly, and handle the situation as quick as possible to minimize the damage. And when you have a move that can take someone out right away, that's really helpful. You even have Ectoplasm there, you have Midnight there, Cementos, he's there too. They're all helping them train and to let them know that just because you have an ultimate move doesn't mean it needs to be offensive. You have Kamui Woods there. When he was handling the villains, when All for One was attacking, he neutralized all of them with his quirk. He even says that Ida has a good ultimate quirk. His Respiro Burst, the thing that makes him go really fast, that's not necessarily meant to be offensive if you don't want it to, but it also works as an ultimate quirk. And then they have the setup there. Cementos build this all these little stalagmites and stuff for them to practice their quirks on. And I have a couple shots here of some students that look to be really, really working hard to develop their quirks. Mina is one of them. You see that she wants to make her quirk better by shooting acid out of her hands. So you see after Ectoplasm gives her some advice, she goes from shooting the acid really at a low level to holding her hands together and shooting even more acid further away. So that's cool to see. You have Ectoplasm talking to Momo saying that your quirk is really good, but you need to work at trying to do two things at once instead of focusing on one thing to make your fighting style a little bit faster. So she creates these two steel beams out of her arms. So you see that she's trying to practice to make her quirk better. And All Might shows up. He just wants to see how the students are doing. He knows his place now. He knows that he's not the number one pro hero anymore, and he can't fight, but he can still teach. So he shows up. He tells Midoriya one thing, and that one thing is, you're still trying to emulate me. You're still trying to imitate me and my way of using this quirk. He doesn't 100% know exactly what that means, but he's thinking about it. And then he goes on to talk to Kirishima and Mina and a couple other people. And you see Eraserhead be like, what is this guy trying to do? He looks in his back pocket and he's got like a how to be a teacher for dummies sort of a book. It's kind of funny because there's those type of books in real life too, right? There's like how to do basic math for dummies and stuff like that. So I thought that was really funny that he's taking advantage of that. So after that, I think Eraserhead tells not only Midoriya, but he tells Ochako and Ida too, because they're trying to get upgrades for their costumes, for their suits, to make their quirks a little bit easier for them to use, so they can develop a better ultimate move. Midoriya goes there first, and as soon as he goes there, we get to see Hatsune again. We haven't seen Hatsune since season 2. During the the tournament arc. And the door blows up because I guess they're working on some sort of a new invention or something like that. That leads to a pretty funny scene. And we get to see a new pro hero that we haven't seen. I believe his name is Power Loader. Yeah, I believe it's Power Loader. We haven't seen much of him. I feel like I've seen him in the background, but not too much. Apparently him and Hatsune are working together because obviously Hatsune is not a pro hero yet. She's still a student, but she's very dedicated to making these gadgets and these things to help other pro heroes do better. So much so that she even recommends to Midoriya that he tries on this power suit, which almost ends up breaking his back because it's moving without him. And then Ida mentions very quietly, I might add, to the pro hero that he wants something to help cool down his engine on his legs. And then Hatsune comes out of nowhere. He's like, "Oh, you want to do that? Let me give you something. Let me give you one of my inventions." And then he's got like these giant freaking engines on his arms, man. It just boosts automatically. He like smashes himself on the ceiling. See that her heart's in a good place. She really is trying to help the best way that she can. And then she says something that's really important that leads to Midoriya thinking differently. And this has happened before. When Gran Torino was training Midoriya for, it seemed like only like 2 days. It wasn't even that long. He mentioned that he can use his quirk differently, and that's when he develops full cowling. She says that if you want to cool down the engines on your legs, just use your arms. And that's when Midoriya has like this breakthrough in his mind. He's like, he just thinks about everything that he learned in these past couple days, along with what All Might told him about, hey, if you're worried about if you're worried about hurting your arms, just use your legs. And that's when he asks Ida to like help him. And you don't get to see that happen, but I'm sure he gives him some tips about how to use his legs and stuff like that. And then we cut through the next couple days because a couple days pass because they have to wait. I'm gonna mention that at the end of the review. There's something about the time of waiting, but basically they cut back to the students who are practicing. We get even more shots of some students like Tokiyami. Tokiyami shows up. He's been practicing in that like dark room with Dark Shadow. Basically, he wears Dark Shadow like a suit of armor, and that ups his close combat fighting capabilities. And I think that that's really cool because he was just using Dark Shadow as like a distance sort of a fight to deflect things and hit things. But now if he covers himself with it, then he himself can fight, not just Dark Shadow. Of course, they always work together. And then we have Bakugo, man. Bakugo really has been working hard since the beginning of this episode. He's been just fighting with ectoplasm, well, his dummy, of course. And he develops this new move called AP Shot. It's really cool. It's like armor piercing, I believe. He holds his hands together and he like concentrates his blast. It's almost like a laser. Bakugo's really versatile, man. He can use his blast to like fly through the air. He can just shoot whole things through his palm. He's gonna be really a tough opponent in the future. And then because he uses AP Blast, Midoriya comes out of nowhere like he always does. He seems to come out of nowhere a lot in this series. Something's happening, he's not around, boom, he uses his full cowling to completely destroy this rock that was about to hit All Might. And he uses his foot. And we get to see, the debut of his new his new suit, which he calls the Gamma suit. You see in the preview for the next episode that's what he names it. He names it the Gamma suit. And you see All Might's face. All Might's so happy, man. He's like, oh, he finally gets it. He understands that he needs to do things his own way and not my way. And you see he names it Shoot Style. shoot style is the style of he's choosing to name it. And you haven't really seen him develop his ultimate move yet, but you know that he will. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Now he gets to use his legs more. It seems like he's got something on his boots. His boots were normally red, but now they're black. So they seem to have some weight to them. And his gloves that only extended up to like right here, they extend all the way up to his shoulder now. So that's going to provide more protection too. And that's basically the end of the episode. Next week, as long as there's no delays again like last week, we're going to get all the students going for the exam. And that's great, man. Already. So quick. But there's something that I want to notice. I want to get you guys to notice at the end of the episode here. My man Midoriya works harder than anyone else, and let me tell you why. Because at the beginning of the episode, what does Eraserhead say? You guys are going to be practicing for the next 10 days, right? The next 10 days until the summer ends. But also, when Midoriya goes to see the pro hero who's going to help him with his gear, he says it's going to take about 3 days for his new suit to come in, right? And then after that, what's the anime say? 4 days later. So what's that mean? Midoriya has been waiting 3 to 4 days for his suit to come in order for him to practice his shoot style. Everyone else has already been practicing. In the beginning of the series, in season 1, what does Midoriya have to do? He has to practice hardcore every single day for almost a year just to be able to even get into UA high school. He has to train his body for him to be able to use One for All. And it's like, now he has to do it again. He's always at a disadvantage, but he always puts in the work to make sure that he's able to be the best that he can be. And that's why he's such a great character, man. Some people might have skipped over it, but I feel like that's something that you just had to notice. Like, he doesn't get as much time to train as everyone else because he doesn't have the right materials. But, you know, he's gonna be great. I can't wait to see him fight and develop his quirk and his ultimate move, man. And that's all I wanted to say. That's a little bit extra. That's something that I noticed. I hope you guys liked this episode. I hope you guys liked this review. Let me know what you think about it. Who do you think is gonna pass? Who do you think is gonna fail? Because only 50% is what Eraserhead said. Man, I can't wait. But that's it for me, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.